This is Plant-Based Briefing. Jeff Bezos pledges $60 million to build a plant-forward food system by Charlotte Pointing at vegnews.com. And I'm Marian Erickson, and this is the Plant-Based Podcast where I curate and narrate a variety of articles on plant-based and vegan living in about 10 minutes or less every weekday. And I'm pleased to have permission from Veg News to share their content. This week, I'm reading articles about the environment and climate change in honor of Earth Day, which is this coming Monday, April 22nd. And I just want to say thank you to you listeners. I've been asking in the last couple weeks for people to comment on social media, write reviews, just to get more visibility and hopefully more people listening to the podcast and sharing it. And I've read some reviews yesterday and wanted to give a shout out to a couple people who've been commenting on YouTube. At Carrie Everlasting has left some nice comments recently, including, "I love this podcast, thanks. And you do a great job, liked and shared." And at Florabelle5 said, "Thank you, I learned so much from you, please keep sharing." So thanks to all of you out there, I really appreciate it. And now let's get to today's Plant-Based Briefing. Our world is poised for transformation. Jeff Bezos pledges $60 million to build a plant-forward food system by Charlotte Pointing at vegnews.com. Via the Bezos Earth Fund, billionaire Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos has pledged $60 million to help accelerate the growth of sustainable protein, including plant-based meat and cultivated meat. In 2020, Jeff Bezos committed $10 billion to tackle the climate crisis by 2030. The billionaire Amazon founder and CEO said at the time that he wanted to work alongside others, both to amplify known ways and to explore new ways of fighting the devastating impact of climate change on this planet. Now, via the Bezos Earth Fund, he's committing $60 million of that $10 billion to advancing sustainable protein, including plant-based and cultivated meat. Right now, the food industry is not working. That's an understatement. The food industry is a disaster. Livestock is responsible for 14.5% of global greenhouse gas emissions. For context, aviation is responsible for 2%, and it is a leading driver of deforestation and habitat destruction around the globe. In the last 6 years, more than 800 million trees in the Amazon rainforest have been cut down to make room for beef production. This already makes for a catastrophic impact, but the impact of animal agriculture doesn't end there. In 2021, one study linked air pollution generated by the meat industry with more than 12,000 deaths every year in the U.S. Another linked meat industry air pollution with 90,000 premature deaths in China. Raising animals for meat also raises serious ethical concerns. More than 99% of U.S. meat products come from factory farms, and it has also been linked with increasing the risk of future pandemics and deadly antibiotic resistance. See links here. That's why it's imperative that we invest in changing the food system. Experts have called for a move away from meat. In 2022, researchers from the University of Bonn noted that unless the West reduces its meat consumption by 75%, it will be very hard to meet climate targets. If all humans consumed as much meat as Europeans or North Americans, we would certainly miss the international climate targets and many ecosystems would collapse, lead researcher Martine Keim said at the time. Accelerating the shift to sustainable protein. In a bid to accelerate the shift away from animals and towards cell-based and plant-based systems, the Bezos Earth Fund, which was set up in 2020 alongside Bezos' funding announcement, has created the Centers for Sustainable Protein. According to the fund, the new center will aim to target technological barriers to reducing cost, increasing quality, and boosting nutritional benefits of alternative proteins by advancing science and technology. The plant-based food industry is advancing quickly and is expected to exceed $162 billion by 2030, but the cultivated protein industry faces more barriers when it comes to growth. Food technology companies can now successfully grow slabs of meat and fish in the lab using just animals, and the FDA has given the process its nod of approval. The widespread availability of cultivated meat would eliminate the need for masses of factory farms, but only if the industry can overcome major issues with scalability and cost. In 2021, one analysis predicted that cultured meat will cost up to $23 per pound to produce, significantly more than conventional beef, which costs around $5 or less per pound. But the Bezos Earth Fund is confident that with its new center and funding, it can overcome some of sustainable protein production's biggest challenges. We need to feed 10 billion people with healthy, sustainable food throughout this century while protecting our planet, Bezos Earth Fund Vice Chair Lauren Sanchez said in a statement. We can do it, and it will require a ton of innovation. Our world is poised for transformation, for a future not constrained by compromise. Solutions to our greatest challenges often come from the quiet persistence of those willing to question, reimagine, and innovate. Transforming the food system. The $60 million allocation for the protein sector is part of the fund's wider $1 billion budget for food system transformation. It is also working on encouraging more people to consume plant-based whole foods, which, according to a growing body of research, are beneficial not just for the planet, but also for our health, too. In January 2024, the U.S. News & World Report named a plant-forward Mediterranean diet as the healthiest diet for the 7th year in a row. This way of eating emphasizes whole foods, greens, and beans. Last year, alongside ProVeg International and 39 other organizations, Bezos Earth Fund backed a campaign called Beans is How, linked here. The global initiative is striving to double the consumption of beans around the world by 2028. Beans really do tick all the boxes when it comes to providing nutritious, affordable, and climate-friendly meals for countries all over the world, Jasmine DeBoo, CEO of ProVeg, said in a statement at the time. Outside of food, the Bezos Earth Fund has also been working on funding restoration and conservation efforts. Earlier this year, for example, it announced it was partnering with the Jane Goodall Institute to advance conservation in the Congo Basin. The institute was founded by Dr. Jane Goodall, the world-renowned primatologist, anthropologist, and conservationist, particularly known for her pioneering work with chimpanzees. Jeff and I were privileged to experience the Congo Basin's rich biodiversity and breathtaking beauty firsthand, which fueled our determination to protect it, Sanchez said back in February. Now, in collaboration with one of my personal heroes, the extraordinary Dr. Jane Goodall, we're teaming up to help safeguard it now and for future generations. Simply put, the world can't afford to lose the Congo Basin. Over the next few years, the Bezos Earth Fund will also be working on decarbonizing steel and cement, making crop yields more drought-resistant, and empowering indigenous groups around the world. The goal must be to make positive change irresistible and unstoppable, it notes. You just listened to Our World is Poised for Transformation. Jeff Bezos pledges $60 million to build a plant-forward food system by Charlotte Pointing at vegnews.com. And I'm Marian Erickson, your host. As always, check out the show notes for a link to the original post, and from in there, links to all the other articles and resources cited. And I'll link some things in the show notes as well. You might want to check out the film, Eating Our Way to Extinction. It was the first documentary or resource that made me aware of what we're doing to indigenous peoples with animal agriculture. And I've done a number of episodes on alt proteins or alternative proteins, which include plant-based proteins, microbial fermentation, and cultivated meat. There's some controversy about cultivated meat from the ethical vegan perspective, and I do have an episode on that. Episode 23, Thoughts on Lab-Grown Meat. And there's an opportunity to learn about it from Animal Justice Academy's free 1-hour webinar about cultivated meat. That's happening Thursday, May 2nd at noon Eastern. You can register to attend live, or you can watch the replay on their website, animaljusticeacademy.com. They're going to discuss where cultivated meat is currently available to the public and what reactions have been, how production is getting scaled up, will animals need to be exploited for the continued production of it, is price parity actually possible, and does it perpetuate the commodification of animals, or does it free animals from commodification? That's a sticking point with many people who are against cultivated meat, actually. And they'll talk about the political and cultural obstacles that cultivated meat faces. This is from a group called Animal Justice Academy. They're a branch of Animal Justice, which is a legal organization in Canada fighting for animal justice. And it is an amazing resource. I can't believe I haven't talked about it that much. And they have a free 6-week on-demand training program, and they continue with lunchtime lives, webinars with experts like this one on cultivated meat. And they have an online community on Facebook that is so fantastic. But the free on-demand training is unbelievable. It's the best, most comprehensive out there that I have seen. It's all self-paced, watch when you want, with over 100 animal advocacy leaders and experts. Week 1 is all about how animals are exploited in various different industries in different ways. Week 2 is about doing advocacy in our communities. Week 3, engaging in the political system. Week 4, about exposing animal exploitation. Week 5, about expanding your influence and engaging in media. And Week 6 is about empowering yourself as an advocate. It's really fascinating to go through these sections because there's some that I just am not at all interested in or would be good at, but it's good to understand how people are doing it, like writing letters to the editor, for example. There's a section on how to do that. So I highly recommend animaljusticeacademy.com, or even just join their Facebook group. It's a great community. So please share this episode with anyone who might benefit, and thanks for listening.